Okay, everyone. So welcome to AJP Lab again. Before starting today's session, let us quickly recap the last session of lab. I guess last time we are done with the prepared statement. Yes or no? Can anyone acknowledge what was the discussion last time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So are we done with the stored procedure and the money transfer program? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So up till practical 3 we are done. Yes or no? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can I have the screen share quickly? Can I have the screen share and let me check your work as well? If anyone is facing any difficulty in the technical, practical implementation, if you have any technical queries, something which you are not getting, you can ask me right now. Anyone? Anyone who's having or who's facing the problem? Anyone? So we are going to work on practical. I'm going to check practical 1, 2, and 3 from the JDBC. Okay then. No answer. I consider there's no query from your end. Just show me your work. Last time work one by one. So I request batch A student. Who is from batch A? Darshan, Fanil and Hetal. Darshan, Fanil and Hetal. Share your screen. I request kindly give the response very fast so that I can deliver the technical stuff. Darshan is from batch C. Okay. Okay, no problem. Darshan, in your batch, are we done with the uh, stored procedure and transaction program? Yes or no?
No, ma'am, you said, ma'am, last time also there was no lab, but you said that we will do in lab.
Okay, and prepared statement? Prepared statement is done?
I think so, ma'am, because our last lab was before 2 weeks.
But whatever is there, you have your laptop, right? You can check your programs.
Yes, ma'am, I'll check.
Yeah, you check and tell me. Meanwhile, batch A students. Batch A students. Just let me know. Batch A students. At least reply you have done or not so that I can move forward. It is really irritating when you are not answering. I don't know what is the problem with TC2 class. I have other divisions also. They reply so quickly. And I discussed with other subject faculties and we came to know that you entirely in all the subject you are not answering. Is there any specific reason for not answering? I'm not asking you the technical question, right? I'm just asking your status. You have to just say yes or no. That's it. And let me be very frank, when students are not showing the enthusiasm, we also lost the tempo. Like, will not feel so much energetic. We feel energetic when you're asking question, when you are making us to think about what we are saying and how it is possible in a more good way, how to have the alternative implementation. But you are not doing the straightforward things also. This is advanced subject. You cannot work in a simple way the way you have worked up till now. I suggest last time be interactive in the lectures and labs. Asking last time, batch A students, drop your status in the chat box. Who is ready with the screen? Have you done the practical number 1, 2, and 3 of JDBC? Batch A students, quickly reply. ગુજરાતીમાં બોલું છું. Yes or no લખો. કર્યું છે કે નહીં? Practical 1, 2, 3. Batch A students. ગુજરાતી તો સમજાય છે ને? Yeah, Michelle, practical 1 is just a theory. It's okay. If you have done 2, 3, it means 1 is also done. I got reply from Michelle, Anand, and Umesh. In class, we have noticed there are only 5 or 6 students, and those 5 or 6 students are repeated in lab. Only they are interacting. Udairaj, Anand, Michelle, Fanil. These are the few. Anand and few names are there from entire class. The 2, 3 students only interact. And I inquired that is the same case with other subject also. Don't think that we are just simply coming and taking the lecture. We discuss everything. We discuss how we can improve our teaching. And that's why we are having the discussion with other subject faculty members also. You see now again from 25 students, I have reply from only 3, 4, 5, 6 students, 6 to 7. 30% reply I am getting. Whatever you are mature enough, whatever you are doing it purposefully, and you are smart enough to take your own decisions. That's it from my end. I'm just moving forward. If you are not interested, then it's okay. Nothing is in my fault, right? Okay, so we are discussing now practical number 4. And practical 4 and 7 we are going to discuss today. Last time we discussed statement and prepared statement, right? And we implemented the CRUD operation. This was the discussion last time, right? So if anyone is facing problem in that, they can raise the query now. Otherwise, I'll move forward and we'll discuss the stored procedures, how to create in MySQL, right? As well, we'll be discussing how to write a Java application to call those stored procedures. Fine, right? And at last, but not the least, today we are also going to learn how to have the transaction management. Okay, so this is the discussion which we are going to have today. Fine. Okay. So let us go ahead and first try to understand what is the problem statement. So if I talk about practical number 4, right? Practical number 4 is talking about just a second. So we are at JDBC, practical number 4, both the batches, batch A and batch C, right? So let us discuss. The practical says, write a Java application which will interact with the database and perform the following task. Task number one is to create a stored procedure which will insert one record in employee table. Okay. Task number 2, create a stored procedure which will retrieve salary of employee, salary for the given employee ID. And task number 3 is write a Java application which will call above mentioned procedure and display appropriate information on screen. Okay, so if we try to solve this one by one, let us talk about the first 2 tasks. If you look at the first 2 tasks, it is talking about creating a stored procedure. So can anyone tell me what is stored procedure? What is stored procedure? Anyone who is having the idea about stored procedure? Anyone knows what is stored? Yes or no? Yes or no? Quickly, just yes or no. That's it. Write in the chat. Okay, what about others? It means you are not paying your attention in theory. Otherwise, these are the students who answer so frequently. Okay, okay. Only 3 reply. Come on, students. Quickly, yes or no? What is stored procedure? Do you recall this slides? These slides, do you recall? Yeah. Michelle is saying SQL command logic. Exactly. That is logic being applied at the server side, right? So when I say sometime programmers want to have the business logic on the database side, there are certain operations which you can carry out by applying some logic in it, and that are more database oriented. So we can put this business logic at the database side, right? So if you want to put this logic at the database level, you should create stored procedure and stored function. I'm giving you a very simple example. Suppose I have an employee table. If I have employee table, there will be various attributes such as we will have employee ID, we'll have employee name, we'll have salary of employee as well. We need to maintain age. So right now, age is in the question mark. Should I store age as a column? Yes or no? Should I store age as a column while creating an employee table? Yes or no? When I'm creating a table, I'll have a column, employee ID, employee name, employee salary, and age. Should I put it age as a column or not? If yes, okay, Anand is saying yes. What about others? Anand, do you recall 3rd semester where we said types of attributes? Simple attributes such as EID, e-name, and salary. And there are multi-valued attributes. For example, mobile number. One student can have multiple mobile number. Composite attributes, for example, address, street 1, street 2, landmark, city, country, pin code. So this is combination, right? And the last but not the least is the derived attribute. What is derived attribute? Derived attribute is the one which can be calculated from other attributes. Exactly. Anand is saying from date of birth, we can find it. Exactly. And age is the attribute which keeps on changing every day. For example, if today some student is having the age of 18 years, 3 months and 5 days, tomorrow it will be 18 years, 2 months and 6 days. Right? Every day age keep on increasing. So if age is keep on increasing, and if you are putting it as a data column, it is not appropriate. Whatever you are going to insert, even after a year or 2 years, the age won't be same. So what you can do is, you can put date of birth, as in column, right? And from date of birth, age can be calculated. So we'll not put it as a column. Instead, we will calculate. How we will calculate? Age is equal to? If you want to calculate my age, how will you calculate? Suppose you have birth date. Exactly. Current date minus date of birth. Anand is saying current date, and we know that sys date, it gives you the system date in database minus column date of birth, and it will give you age, right? So now age is a derived attribute, right? So we'll not put it at the column level, but this is something which you can calculate. So this way, there are certain operations which are logical enough and certain which are calculative. So you can put such business logics at the database side either as a stored procedure or stored function. Stored procedure is used to have the business logic, whereas stored functions are used to perform the calculation. Fine. The detailed discussion we had in theory, so I'm not going to repeat. You can check out the video and you can recall it. Now, I'm discussing the necessary part, that if you look at here, we have been asked to create a stored procedure, right? And that is for inserting one record. Can you tell me the query to insert a record? Query to insert a record. What is the query? Everyone out there.
Insert into table name.
Okay. Then
Round bracket the column name and values the value.
okay. Okay, I'm not taking EID, employee ID, because I feel it's a primary key. And this, if I'm taking from user, I'll be writing a prepared statement. Last lab, we learned the prepared statement. Okay. So this is now my prepared statement. What I need is, I need an employee table and I want to create a stored procedure which will insert. Now, you can see these are the input variables, right? We learn in stored procedure, there are three kinds of parameter: in, out, and in, out. This is we done in theory. We said in type of parameter are the input parameter, and you can bind it using setter method. Out type of parameters are the valued coming as an output from the stored procedure, and we can access it in Java using the getter method. Okay, get XXS method you can use, and at times you will have the parameter which will act as a both, which will provide input as well as the output. And I gave you the example of increment. I said salary is equal to salary plus bonus, right? So salary is the same object, and salary plus 1000 we are adding, then it is new salary. So salary is the input and salary is the output. Fine. So for that type of example, same variable will work for input and output. Now, look at the insert query. Tell me, values will be of which type of variable? The question mark which I am writing over here, these are the which type of variable? In or out? Input or output? Are you getting the question? If you are giving something to database, it will be input. If your database is giving you something, then it will be output. So in the insert query, these question marks are input or output. Exactly. Anand is saying input. Fine. So these are the input parameter, right? Now let us create a stored procedure for the one. What you need is, you need a XAMPP. I request everybody to do this. If you have your laptop, start it and do it with me. Okay. So we have admin panel of our data server. I'm going to create a procedure. Look at carefully. To create the stored procedure, you have to click on the database, right? Then you will have the options in mode which says routines. Routines. You can click on the routines and then you can click on add routine, right? This will allow you to create a new stored procedure. We'll write insert new employee. This is my method or procedure name. Okay. As it is the insert, it is a logical operation. That's why the type is procedure, not the function. Just now we learn, and theory also we we say that if it performs the calculation, then it would be function. But if it is performing some business logic, then it's a stored procedure. So here we are going to create stored procedure. If you want to create a function, select the drop down and go with the down. Okay, but we are going to create the procedure. Now what we need is, we need input parameter. In my employee table, there are 3 columns. If I discuss the structure, I have employee table where EID is in integer, ename is in varchar 20, and I have salary in double. From that, my EID is primary key, right? As it is the primary key and auto increment, so I don't need to give the value. While inserting, I'll just give the value for ename and salary. What does it mean? It means that if I want to create a stored procedure, in input I have to give 2 variables which are compatible to this type. Fine. So I'm giving over here input variable. I can select the parameter. Input parameter var underscore nm, which is representing the name of a employee. Type is varchar. As it is varchar, I need to give the length. Next parameter is again in type of parameter, which is the salary of employee. I said variable salary, and I'm selecting the type that is double because my column is of double type. Length will be provided when it's a var character or character, otherwise not. Now, input parameters are done. I have to write the query. You said the query is something like this, right? Right? And over here, the body starts and ends between begin and end. We are going to write the business logic between it. So we are going to write the insert query, but this time the question marks are replaced with the in variable. So I said var underscore nm and var underscore salary. So these are the 2 variables which I am giving as an input parameter here up. Are you getting how to write? Okay, I click on go and it has created insert a new employee method over here. If I click on execute, it is asking me the name. Okay, before that, let me show the data instance. My table name is EMP. Oh, and I by mistake, I wrote a employee. So I'll edit it. I can click here. I'll edit the query, insert into EMP. Okay, click on go. Now I'm clicking on execute. It is asking me the name. Okay, before that I was showing you the instance. This is the table and I have 4 records. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Kajal, Taru, Twinkle and Tarannu. Okay, I'm going to the procedure back. Name. I'm giving the name Joy. Right? I'm giving the salary, which is 50,000, and I click on go. Now let us check the example. Can you see Joy 50,000? Now 5th record is added. So this is using stored procedure. Fine. Clear? What you need to give is to create a stored procedure, you need to give procedure name, which is called routine name. Select the type, whether it's a function or procedure. Mention the parameter, whether in or out, how many, select the name and type. And write the body between begin and end. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? Now, look at next. What is the next statement? Next statement says, create a stored procedure, right? Again, we have to create a stored procedure which will retrieve the salary for given employee ID, right? To write this procedure on the same table where EI, can anyone tell me How to write it? How to write it? Can anyone discuss? What are the in parameter? Is there any out parameter or not? What would be the query? What would be the query? Delete, update, insert, select, alter, create table. What is the query? Which query we will be using? Everyone type in the chat.
Select.
Select query, right? Can you help me out to write it? What I have to write is? What I have to write?
Select star from.
Select not star.
Select star from.
Salary.
Select salary from EMP where employee ID equals to.
Equals to whatever comes from the user, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Input parameter and output parameter. What we need? What are the type of parameter which we required? Is there any in type of parameter for this procedure?
Yes. In for EID and out for the salary.
Exactly. In for EID and out for SID. So you can go to the procedure, right? And create a new routine. Say get EMP salary. Fine. It's a procedure. In type of parameter. Input is variable EID. Fine. It is integer type. Add new parameter. This parameter is out type of parameter, which is variable salary, and salary is in double, so we are writing the double. Now in the body we have to write between the begin and end. We will write this query. Now when you are writing this query, you know that select salary. Salary is the column. You have to give it inside a variable into variable cell, right? Because you mentioned an output variable over here. The input variable which you are taking is, which you are giving is where EID, right? So it is going to give you the input, whatever user enters, it will supply it as an input parameter to this stored procedure, right? Is it clear? What is in, out, what is in, right? So I click on go. Now look at my employee table. Okay, I have Joy with 50,000, employee ID 5, 4 with employee ID 4, Tarannum with 20,000. I'm trying to execute this get employee salary, giving the ID 4, which is for Tarannum, and you can see here variable cell is 20,000. Can you see this? Okay. Now let me execute that procedure again. This time I am giving the employee ID of Joy, which is 5, and having the salary 50,000. So I give 5 and it is giving me an out 50,000. Can you see this? Fine. Now, anyone having any question or query regarding? We discuss right now how to create stored procedure in MySQL. We discuss that procedures can take in parameter or in out parameter or in out parameter. It can be as many as you want, right? Any number of parameters you can pass. And we created 2 stored procedure. One is to insert the record and one is to get the salary. Anyone having any doubt or any question up till now? Okay. Anand is saying no, ma'am. And rest has taken a swear that you jump from the 10th floor, but we will not reply. Now onwards, those who are not answering, I'll mark them absent. So if I look at the chat, today I have to mark the presence of Yash Kalola, Jay Mandani, Nishal Anand, Umesh, Eva, Fenil, and Darshan. That's it. Rest of the students I'll mark absent. Now if you are not answering even a single time, I'll mark you absent. Because mentally you are not present, right? Now, look at the task 3. Write a Java application which will call. What now we need to do is, we need to call this procedures. Fine? Right? And we have to display appropriate messages. Now, these procedures are the part of JDBC. Yes or no? Right? What we need to do? What we need to do to have this? What we need to do? We need to perform 5 basic steps of the JDBC. Step number 1, load the driver. Step number 2, make the connection with data server. Step number 3, create the statement. This time, which type of statement we will create? Basically, there are 3 types of statement. Statement used with static query. Prepared statement used with dynamic query. And the third one is, what is the third type of statement? What is the third type of statement?
Callable.
Callable statement. So this time, to call the stored procedure, we are going to use callable statement. And callable statement object will be returned by prepare call method. This prepare call method is belonging to connection interface. So you can call the prepare call with the help of connection interface object. So we'll write con dot prepare call. In the double quote, curly braces, then you have to write keyword call, and then you have to mention your procedure name and the placeholders for your parameter. So if you have 2 input parameter, you will mark 2 question mark. If you're having 1 in and 1 out, total 2 parameter, again you will mark 2 question marks. So number of parameters, as many as you have, that many placeholder or question marks you have to do. Fine. So this is step number 3. And then later we can access those values which are coming from the program. So let us understand that. Let me show you the demonstration, how this works. Up till now, if you face any issue or something which you are not getting, you can raise a query. Anyone? So look at here. I've created the class callable statement in out, and we have written step number 1, load the driver. Step number 2, make the connection. Taken a scanner class. I'm asking user to enter employee ID. So we have taken a E number as an integer. Fine. And we are creating the callable statement object CS con.prepare call. Using the call keyword, I'm calling the get salary method. What was the name of our method? What was the name of our method? It was get EMP salary. So over here, I'll be writing that, or I'll be calling that get EMP salary. Fine. Now, whatever user has entered using the scanner class using next int, that variable we are setting as a first question mark. Right? First question mark, if you recall, it was our in parameter. The second was the out parameter, which was of double type of value. Fine. So we said cs.set. As I said, the setter methods will be used with the input parameter. In slide we have seen before few minutes. So I'm setting for the first question mark. So 1 comma local variable which you have taken from the user. Fine. Fine. And then what we have is we have written cs dot register output parameter. We are saying 2 comma java.sql dot double because our second parameter is out type of parameter. So we need to register it and then we can use it. Fine. Fine. So we are trying the salary of employee, right? We are trying the salary of employee, which is there in the second question mark. So we said cs dot register output parameter, the value which is there in the second question mark, which was our out parameter. You wrote select salary into variable cell. So that variable cell is at second question mark. We are getting it. And it is of double type of SQL. So we are writing java.sql.types.double. Fine. And finally, we have to execute the method over here. So we are writing cs.execute. This will execute the stored procedure. And finally, we are displaying whatever is there in the second parameter. We can use it using the getter method. So we say cs.get double because second question mark is of double type. And finally, we said connection dot close. Okay. Are you getting the code? Any question? Getting the code? Okay. Let us clean and build. It says enter employee ID. We inserted at last an employee ID 5 Joy with 50,000. Can you see? Right? And we have employee ID 4 with 25,000, I guess. Yeah, 20,000 with 20,000. So this is coming from database. We are executing the method and then we are getting it. Any question up till now? So this is to call employee salary. Now we have one more, which is for insert, right? We said insert new employee, which is taking 2 input parameter. Can anyone guess what we need to do next? To call the method insert new EMP from our Java code, what I need to do over here? So I'll take one more callable statement object. I'll say cs1 equal to, I'm saying connection dot prepare call, right? And call I can make by double quote and curly braces. In it I'll write call and the method name, right? And then parameter list. How many question mark? Insert employee
2.
2, right? Because primary key is auto increment. So 3 columns, but first column is primary key and auto increment. So we are taking 2 values. Now which 2 values you have to set over here?
Name and salary.
So we need to ask it to user. Fine. So what we'll write is system.out.println. You say enter employee name. Fine. With the help of scanner object, we have created SC. We are saying next. Okay. It will allow us to have a string in the input. Similar way, we have to take salary and the input, right? This I'll assign to some string and I'm equal to. And now I'm taking a double salary cell equal to. This is my variable. Next double I am saying. Now these 2 variables I have to pass here, right? So this call is handled by CS1. So I'll set the values. So I'll say CS1 dot set string because it is varchar first question mark, right? Then I'll say CS1 dot set double, okay, which is for second question mark, right? Now there is no need to write the out parameter because we are not having anything in the output. We have only input. That's why we'll not use the getter method. Will not use the getter method. We will just use uh, the setter methods only. Now everything is set, so we can say cs1 dot execute, fine, and finally we'll give the message system dot out dot ln. We'll say record inserted, new record inserted, fine. Okay, any question, any doubt? Fine. I can do clean and build. Right now we have 5 records. Last inserted record was Joy, right? And now we are inserting the next one. So this is for salary search. Now it is asking for new record. Let me give the new name Zoya, right? Zoya is the new employee. Salary 40,000. It says new record inserted. Let us check. So it is in employee table. Can you see Zoya with 40,000, 6 record inserted, right? Any question, any doubt? This is your practical number 4. Michelle is asking, where is insert a new employee stored procedure used? Can we use insert query direct and get salary? We can use direct to get the data. Yeah, that you can do, Michelle. You can do that with the help of prepare statement. If you recall, last time the same functionality we have achieved. You see, here what I'm doing is, here I'm saying get salary. Here I'm saying call to the uh, insert employee. Suppose I don't want to use stored procedure, as you are saying you want to go with the prepared statement, so you can write this prepared statement, right? Let us say cs1, I'm giving the same name, is equal to connection dot prepare statement, right? And this time I'll write this directly insert into emp, fine, ename comma salary, I'll say values, and I'll do 2 question mark, right? So now CS1 is my prepared statement object, and as it is the prepared statement object, I have written the query directly. So now whatever user is entering in local variable using set string and set double, it will be set in this insert query. You can write it directly, no problem. But I'm saying that when you are having stored procedures, you can go with the call of an procedure from the, you can see this, it's running. You can call a stored procedure from your program. That is to show you how, what is stored procedure and how you can give it. You see, this is using insert query. You can use it, but using stored procedure are having its own advantages, which we discuss in theory. We said we will use this business logic at the database side because it increases the performance. It will make your performance better because your codes are pre-compiled. This is very simple example. At times we have very complicated scenario. In that very complicated scenario, you can go with this. You can go with the prepared statement. You can make an entire code like a program and you can put it in a database site. It will increase the speed of response. Performance will be better when you are using the stored procedure. So the answer of your question is yes, we can use insert query directly. You see here I have used, right? Prepared statement, I wrote insert query directly, fine. But when you are having callable statement, you can just directly use this. Okay. Any question, any doubt? Okay. Now, assuming that everybody is getting this, we are moving to the next, which is the next practical. Program number 7. 5 and 6 together we'll see in the next lab. Right now we are seeing program number 7. Look at the program number 7. What it says. It says design an JDBC application which demonstrates transaction management functionality. What is transaction? What is transaction? Everyone, what is transaction? In theory, we discuss when you have a single functionality. For example, consider money transfer in the online banking, or when you are doing even the Google Pay. When you are doing the Google Pay, any UPI system, when you are using Beam or RuPay or like any UPI system, when you transfer money, what you do actually? Consider the scenario. First, you are selecting your account, right? So as an application, let us say we are taking input from the user. So we'll ask user enter your account number, right? Now, whatever user enters, we are saying it as account 1. Now, we'll ask user enter amount to be transferred, right? We are calling it as a variable transfer. We're asking user entered third party account number, right? Let us say user is entering some account number, we are calling it as account 2. Now, what is transaction? To transfer this money, let us say account 1 value is A, account number is A, money which we want to transfer is 1000, and account 2 is the account number B. So transferring 1000 rupees from account A to account B is our transaction, right? Is our transaction. Are you getting what is transaction? Transaction is transferring 1000 rupees from account A to account B, and account 1 transfer and account 2 are our variables. Now, when you will perform this, you have learned in your DBMS that transaction will begin and it will end. And when we have an entire block which need to be performed together, we call it as a transaction. To achieve the money transfer, the first task which you have to do is read the balance of account A. Then you will do some mathematical operation. You will subtract the amount and then you will update the account with the after deduction 1000 rupees will be less from account A, right? Now once you are done, next you will read account B, and when you have read the account B, you will update the balance in account B using some mathematical operations, and then finally you will update B with the new or updated amount. We said that all this has to be done together, right? All this has to be done together. Suppose you reach up till step 3, or Even step 4, you have read up to account B, and then system fails. If system fails over here, what will be the situation? Money has been deducted from account A, but it has not been added to account B. In that case, all over your database will not be in consistent state. What is consistency? Sum of the amount should be same before and after. Sum of account A plus B should be same. If account A is having 11,000, account B is having 9,000, so together it is 20,000. If you transfer 1,000 rupees from account A to account B, so 11,000 minus 1,000 and added to account B, 9,000 plus 1,000, total 10,000. It should be same. Before transfer, it should be 20,000. After transfer also, it should be 20,000. But if this happens, before transaction, it will be 20,000. But if in between something fails, after transaction, it will be 19,000, which is not acceptable. Otherwise, we'll have data loss. And to prevent the data loss, when we have transaction is set of programs or single unit of a work. Money transfer is single unit. You just do a single click, and that single task is having 6 different steps. Read account A, minus account A, update account A, read account B, add to account B, and update account B. 6 steps, 6 major steps. And to manage this asset properties, we should go with these commands. First, to prevent this, first thing which you need to do is set auto commit false. Now, commit is the command which is done at the last. When your transaction is ended, it is done successfully, you do commit. When you write the commit command, it will save the data permanently. So we say that commit is to achieve the durability, right? Now, we have void commit command in our connection interface. So we can write con.commit. Fine. As well, we have a property which is there with JDBC connection interface, that whatever query you execute, by default, the auto increment policy or auto increment flag is set as true. Otherwise, we know that DML statements are not auto committed. You need to write commit to save it permanently. But when you are doing it from Java program, there's a set auto commit method available in connection interface, and it is true by default. It is true by default, and that means that all the operation, each transaction, whatever query you run from the program, it will be saved permanently, right? So if you are performing transaction through the programming, the first thing what you have to do is you have to write connection dot set auto commit false. Why you want to do this? Because you want that commit should happen after all these 6 steps. That's why you should write connection dot set auto commit false, and then you can perform all these 6 operations. Then you can perform all this 6 operation, and at last you can call connection dot commit method, right? At last you can call connection dot commit method. Fine. Are you getting the problem statement and pseudo code how to achieve this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let us check the program. Now you see what we are going to do is to read. We will read account A. We will say select balance from customer. Customer is my table where account number is equal to whatever user has entered in the variable account 1. Account 1 is my variable. So you look at this is prepare statement. This is prepare statement, right? Now whatever is there in the balance, we'll take in a local variable. We will do the deduction. This is transfer, amount to be transferred. Transfer is my right? This is account A. So this is reading account A. Now you have to read the account B. So again we'll write the prepared statement. But this time the prepared statement is reading the second variable that is entered here, third party account number, which is your account 2. Which is your account 2. Fine? Fine guys? Okay. Then we'll do the mathematical steps.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
The screen is not visible.
Right now it has gone, right? Yes,
Yes,
or no?
ma'am.
Okay. Now, is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Audio is also gone in between. Can you see that? I'm reading same query, but this time this select is for reading B, right? So if I'm reading the B, I have to use this third party account number, the variable which is holding it. And finally, I'll do the arithmetic operation and then I'll write B. To write B is the fourth query. So fourth query will be same as the second query, but this time the variable account number and the balance will be for the account B. And at last, I'll write connection.commit. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any question, any doubt? Should I show you the final code? Let me tell you, with the minor modification, all online net banking, even your Google Pay works like this with the slight modification. 1 or 2 line more, otherwise the same code, right? Now, to achieve these queries, first we need to perform the 5 basic steps. And these 4 queries are my prepared statement. So what I'll be doing is, let me open the project. I'll be creating the step number 1. So I have program money transfer. Okay, everyone, to run this program, you need this table. So you can just create it using the SQL part. Store this query, right? And you can insert 2 records. So you can run this query directly to the SQL prompt, which is there in your, you can go to your database, go to MU, right? Click on MU and then click on SQL and paste the table query first. First, paste the select table query, right? And then go to click on the run or go button, right? And then write the second queries to insert and then you can run it. Now, these are the required table and insertion. Now to take the input, I have taken scanner. To perform the 5 basic steps, I need connection manager and prepare statement and all such classes. So taking java.sql.star. Public class money transfer, taken a main method, public static void main throws the exception. Step 1, load the driver, class.4name. Step 2, create the connection, driver manager.get connection. I'm creating the con object. Now, transaction starts, so I'm saying con dot set auto commit false. Mind well, here double quote we will not do because it's a boolean value, not a string value. So directly you have to write false. Taking the scanner class object SC and asking user enter your account number. Whatever user enters, we are keeping it in the variable string account number 1 because if you look at my account table, if you look at my customer table, in my customer table, I have 2 records and from that account number is a string. It's a character, account A, account B. This is my account number, right? Taru and Mary are the customer ID 1 and 2, and the balance are 9,000 and 3,000. What I'll do is I'll transfer 5,000 from account A to account B. So if I'm transferring 5,000 here in account A, it would be 4,000 after transaction, and here it will be 8,000. Okay, right now 9,000 and 3,000. Now it's asking me enter account 1. I will enter over here A. Then it is asking me enter amount to be transferred. I'm saying 5,000. It is in the integer transfer. It is asking me enter third party account number. I'm saying B. Now I'm selecting the account A. So I'll say SQL, string SQL. I've taken a string SQL. Select star from customer where account number is equal to question mark. And this question mark is runtime value, which I'm taking from the variable account 1. So I said ps1.set account. And this is replacing with account A. I'm executing the query. As it is the select query, it is going to give me result set. When you execute the result set, it points the 0th row. So first you need to go to that row. So I'm writing rs.next. It will point to the current row. Now from entire result set, I'm taking the balance column. So I said rs1.get integer balance, and I'm taking it in a balance underscore a local variable. Now local variable balance underscore a is holding the balance of account A. I'm displaying balance before transfer, balance A. Now I'm doing the deduction. So here it is 9,000 minus 5,000. So it will be final amount in balance A, which is 4,000. Okay. Then I'm updating. So I say update customer set balance is equal to balance A, which is 4,000, and account number account 1, which is A. So entire query which will be formed in the prepare statement would be update customer set balance is equal to 4,000 where account number is equal to A, right? After that, we are moving ahead and we are displaying balance after transfer in account A. Now we are done with the first 3 steps. Read A minus A subtract and update A. Now we have to read B, update mathematical calculation, and then update B. So we'll go with the SQL 3, select star from customer where account number is equal to question mark. Here I am using account 2, and account 2 is my account B, right? I'm selecting the balance, right, which is 3,000, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm printing before transfer, and now I'm saying 3,000 plus transfer is 5,000. So together it is 8,000. And I'm updating. I said update customer set balance is equal to 8,000 where account is equal to 2, because these things are right now holding the value 8,000 and account B. So it is going to update account B. Fine. I'm executing the query. Finally, I am displaying balance after transfer in third party account. And finally, I'm saying connection.commit. Don't forget to execute connection.commit, because while starting the transaction, the initial step, we said connection.set auto commit false. So if you are not setting it connection.commit, otherwise all the operations, all update will not be reflected. So to reflect your update, at last you have to say connection.commit. Fine. Is there any question or any doubt? Anyone? Are you clear? So let me execute the program. And you see the account number, account A. Amount to be transferred, 5,000. Right now, account A is having 9,000 balance. Account B, right? Current balance is 3,000, and I'm adding the 5,000. So you can see balance before transfer in account, your account is 9,000. After transfer, it is 4,000. Balance in third party, before transfer 3,000, and after transfer it is 8,000. Okay, let us check the database. Can you see this? 4,000 and 8,000. Fine. look at the code. Any question, any doubt? 4 SQL queries we are executing with the help of prepared statement. Look at the entire code. Any doubt, any query you can ask. Anyone? Right? We are closing the connection after comment, and we can also close the scanner. Okay? Which is optional, but you should close. Fine? Any query? This is how your real life applications also works. Fine? So if we summarize what we did today, then we have gone through the discussion of practical number 4, which was stored procedure. Right? JDBC practical number 4, which we discussed today, was stored procedure for inserting one record and stored procedure to get the salary of given employee ID. And we wrote a Java application for above to call the above procedure. And then we learn how to have the transaction management functionality. And we see a money transfer program for that. Fine. Next lab, what we are going to do is we are going to work upon what is a scrollable result set and what is updatable result set. So next time we will work upon that. Meanwhile, you can also check out the theory. We have today done include and forward action in the servlet collaboration. Fine. And last session we did servlet context interface. Fine. Right. And deployment descriptor is just a discussion which we had in a very first program. So in theory, I have discussed this 4 programs also. So you can practice it. You can practice it by watching the theory video. Next lab, we will be focusing on practical number 5 and 6. Okay, which is scrollable result set and updatable result set. Along with that, we will go with a simple program to test deployment descriptor. So next lab, we are going to do 3 programs. Any technical query in today's session or any previous session, or something which you want to practice by your own, and if you are facing any difficulty, you can raise a query. Anyone? Anyone? So that's it from my end today. Should I close the session? What I want is still we have half an hour, so you people can practice, but I guess recording is no more required. So if you say okay, I will stop the recording and then you can work on your problem statement. Right now you have to do program number 4 and 7. Stored procedure and transaction management. Should I close the discussion? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay then.